Don't you love it when you finally meet someone in person? I was so thrilled to meet Jen Stewart from Premier Research at DIA, and even more thrilled to talk to her on Calyx Cafe for the second time. Jen is part of the RBQM panel at ACRO, and she shares with us some of the data they've been gathering over the past few years. The panel is a cross-CRO and cross-vendor initiative, allowing access to more data to drive better insights. By the way, the Calyx Cafe is going to reopen at some point. I think they finally got rid of all the rats. Well, maybe not all of them actually. Let's go to the interview. Hi everyone, we're at Calyx Cafe. We're live at DIA, and I love it when someone comes back to Calyx Cafe. And I'm so pleased to have Jen Stewart with us again. How are you?
Thanks, I've been doing well, thanks.
Yeah.
It was great to run into you, have a chance to meet you in person this time. Our last interaction was a virtual one, so good to see you here. And so far, it's been a wonderful DIA. I know we're just getting started, it's day one. But
yeah, it is. Yeah.
So far, so good, a great turnout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's busy and a lot of interesting talks so far.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I've had a lot of conversations about risk-based quality management today.
Okay.
Had an opportunity to be a part of a panel representing the ACRO society that I'm a part of, the RBQM working group. And we presented today on data that we collected for 2021 clinical trials and the risk-based quality management components of those trials.
Okay.
So we were able to present the data today and talk about how compared to 2019 and 2020, the 2021 data is shaping up.
Okay. So is it, where does the data come from?
So there are 7 CRO partner companies that are part of this RBQM working group associated with ACRO, so all CROs. There's another subset of technology companies that are a part of ACRO. Okay. And so all of the member companies surveyed their own studies, and we ended up with close to 5,000 studies worth of data from 2021.
Really? Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I mean, we're seeing more and more like multi-sponsors or CRO innovations or like initiatives, I should say, like this. And it's really, really good to see that the industry is coming together to like innovate in the clinical trial space. Is this how how it feels for you as well?
Yes, you know, at the end of the session today, the panelists got back together, just talked a little bit about how it went. And one of the things that we mentioned was how beneficial it is to have peers, essentially, right? Not competitors, but peers with a different perspective in the market come together and compare and contrast what we're encountering and have the opportunity to aggregate data. So I don't know if you remember from the last Calyx Cafe session, but one of the takeaways that that I suggested going forward was access to more data from across vendors or across companies. So yes, it's a business. Yes, we may be competing with each other, but at the same time, there's so much value in seeing the bigger picture. And this survey has helped on a small scale to kind of prove that concept. It's giving us insights that we wouldn't get if we only looked at our own study data that we ran as one company.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, all we're doing is advancing research to help patients save lives. So why should there be like boundaries where there doesn't need to be boundaries? So yeah, I love the concept. So is this something that will carry on? Where are you taking this moving forward?
So this is the 3rd year that the RBQM panel of ACRO has aggregated data. So we've had the opportunity now, I guess for the 2nd time, to compare to the years prior. So in 2019, that was the first data set we had. In 2020, we were able to compare that to 2019, and not surprisingly, saw impacts of COVID, of the pandemic. So some things were moving in the direction we expected, some things were surprising, but the uptake of remote monitoring or offsite monitoring, obviously that increased. It had to, otherwise there would be no monitoring. And so that was, what everybody tried to scramble to figure out how to do. And now we're seeing, having collected 2021 data coming out of the pandemic to some extent, right? The new studies that started in 2021 in particular, we're seeing a lot more risk-based quality management components being incorporated. So the majority of studies not only are doing an initial risk assessment, they're performing ongoing risk assessments. And beyond that, we're seeing an uptick of key risk indicators and central monitoring. So leveraging more of the real-time reviews from centralized resources, a centralized tool that's pulling all the different data sources together, and helping tee up what needs to happen on site versus maybe what can be done remotely. Try to find, ways to continue to improve quality in the data. Keep an eye on patient safety, of course, right? That's paramount to what we're doing. So we hope to do this again in 2022. Right now, we are in the process of aggregating and looking at the data that's been pulled together for us through ISR. And we will be publishing a paper later this year as well to dig more into the data and the outcomes that we've seen from the aggregation of that information.
Wow. So you're busy then.
I am busy. Yes, in a great way, right? We're learning a lot as a result of the data that we were able to collect. So absolutely worth it.
Yeah, amazing. What are you looking forward to for the rest of DIA? Anything in particular?
So there's a session on E8R1 that I'm interested in learning more about. Getting more perspectives from the regulators, as well as just hearing different perspectives from other people in the industry. So I think one of the great aspects of a conference that is this large and well represented is there are so many sessions to choose from, and even when you're not sure what you're going to come away from the session with, right? Maybe you think you're just going to build upon knowledge you already have, you actually get a totally different perspective and change your way of thinking or start digging into something different. So I think DIA really can offer that, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. That's great. Me too. And also creating like new contacts.
Yes, networking.
Yes. The last conference I did, like for a couple of days afterwards, I was like, it made me think a lot about a certain aspect that's completely not in the conversation here, but I love that from conferences, like you said, that it kind of makes you think differently. And you get to exchange in a way that you wouldn't do usually in your day job. So
And are you presenting? Are you going to be a part of the innovation booth or anything?
Yes, I'm presenting on Wednesday.
Oh, great.
Something on the regulatory requirements related to IRT, because there's been an emphasis on how IRT collects data that's apparent to ECRF. So some of the regulatory requirements or expectations that apply to ECRF also apply to some of the data collected in IRT. So it challenges the way we need to manage data. There's more ownership from sites, which is changing the way sponsors need to approach it. So it's quite interesting.
Great. Well, I hope that goes well. I was thrilled by the turnout at our panel session, and I hope that you experience the same.
Yeah, thank you. Right, I think that's all for us today.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming back.
Of course.
I'm sure I'll see you later on the floor.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.